Good evening and welcome to A Place for Healing, a weekly wellness webinar. This week we'll be talking about turning stress into fuel. I'm Dr. Barry Weinberg from A Place for Healing, where we specialize in helping people heal from the inside out using network spinal analysis, home wellness solutions, and wellness education. I started A Place for Healing back in 1994, 21 years ago, with a vision of a place where the environment is healing in and of itself, to help people have the strategies to heal themselves. And I've written a few books along the way: A Clear Path to Healing, Reclaiming the Inner Healing Power of Body and Mind to Reach Your Optimum Health Potential, and To Face the Dragon, a tale about a boy, and written in the genre of a kind of the Lord of the Rings kind of story that shares the healing process through a story. And I'm also a musician. I'm a guitar player and a songwriter, and I wrote the music, the soundtrack for a movie called Florida Crackers, The Cattlemen and Cowboys of Florida, a great documentary about the history of Florida and the cowboys that are here. And you can watch this movie at floridacrackersmovie.com. You can watch the movie, listen to the music, and have a really great time, a great evening watching this full-length documentary. So let's get started. I'd like to start this webinar with a question. Where does sickness come from? If you ask this question, some of the answers you'll get are germs. That germs make us sick. Well, we now know that germs don't make us sick. In fact, it's our immune system being compromised that makes us sick. Germs are there all the time. When our immune system is healthy, we're not sick, and the germs are there anyway. In fact, there was a study, you can look it up online, that showed there are more foreign bacteria, viruses, and germs in our body than actual human cells. That sounds a little overwhelming. It sounds like, what? But it's true. You can look it up online, and there's a study that's shown that. And we've all seen situations where if you have children, half the class will get sick and half of them won't. Some have strong immune systems, some don't. Another person might say, the sickness comes from our genes, it's genetic. Well, studies are showing now that that's not true either. The genes is merely a potential for an illness, and that if we take care of ourselves, we have the proper environment, we create the proper environment, that we do not have to get sick because of our genes. All 4 of my grandparents had diabetes. My mom, when I was growing up, was a health nut. She showed us and taught us and made us eat healthy, be healthy. And the genetics are in me for diabetes, but nobody in my family, in my immediate family, has diabetes. So genes do not cause illness. It's just merely a potential where if you take care of yourself, there's a good chance that you won't get the illness. And they've actually done studies called eugenetics that shows that our genetics can actually be changed through intention and our environment. So you can look that up online as well. And some might even say it's just bad luck. Well, the studies show now, both from the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, the World Health Organization, and the AMA, that one of the number one causes of illness, 98%, according to their statistics, are related to one thing: stress. Now, you could put germs in the category of stress. Stress is a change in the outside environment which causes a change in our inner environment. And there are many types of stress. There's the physical stresses like auto accidents, but more subtle things like maybe if you're a woman carrying a purse on one shoulder all the time, that's a stress. Sitting all hunched over at the computer all day, that's a physical stress. There's also the emotional stresses, work stress, finances, relationships. And there's our chemical stresses, our environment, toxicities, things we eat. You can put germs maybe in that category. And whenever we experience a stress, our body goes through a very specific physical mechanism, and this is called the fight or flight response. It's also called stress physiology or defense posture. Whenever we experience a threat in our environment, our body goes into stress physiology. Now, the thing about this process is the stress doesn't have to be real. It can be imagined. We've all experienced this, but one that I know we've all experienced, if you're a driver, is you're driving down the highway and the car in front of you suddenly stops short. You go, your foot slams on the brake and your body tenses up and you may feel yourself get all shaky and your pulse goes up. That's the stress response. Or you're going up that roller coaster, you feel that stress response. Or maybe you're expecting a phone call, and that phone call could either be you're getting fired or you're getting a promotion. Your body will go into this response. And basically, the first thing that happens is our brain sends a signal, because our nervous system controls all things in the body. The brain sends a signal to the adrenal glands, and adrenaline is pumped into the blood. Other hormones and chemicals are released also, but adrenaline is the main one. And what the adrenaline in the blood does is, first thing is the blood pressure, it makes the blood pressure increase. The heart rate increases. We start getting shallow, rapid breathing. Why would the body, understanding that the body is intelligent, that's one of my biggest messages in all of these webinars, is that the body is intelligent, does everything for a reason. If we're faced by a threat, a danger, a stress, why would the body increase the blood pressure, the heart rate, and our breathing? Well, the stress response is a very primitive response that all animals and plants have, including bacteria, grass, everything. All animals and plants have this process, and it's designed to help us do one of two things, either to fight and confront the danger or to run away. So in order to fight, to go from a calm, steady state to a fighting, running state, we need more energy quickly. So the body starts rushing the blood through the body, creating oxygen, bringing oxygen to all the cells of the body. And that's why we also have the rapid breathing. We need more oxygen so we can run or fight. Now we also need more energy through blood sugar. So the body starts releasing blood sugar from the pancreas. The blood sugar increases to give us more energy. Our muscles get all tense. Why? Because we're ready for action. Whenever we're ready for action, playing sports, working out, or running from a danger, our muscles are going to be ready for action, tightened up. The pupils of our eyes will dilate, meaning they get bigger so we can see more in less light. Now, there are a few processes that our body does on a regular basis that use up a lot of energy and aren't required in the time of immediate danger. So these processes are reduced or turned off, and these are immunity, the ability to fight off disease and viruses and bacteria, digestion, to break our food down and turn it into body parts, and sexual function. These are all turned off because we don't need them in time of danger. Now, this process is excellent when we're in danger. It's designed to keep us alive in times of danger. But it's not a good way to live all day, every day. Remember that as we move forward, because I'm going to turn gears a little bit here for a moment. Remember, this process happens whenever we experience danger, whenever we feel stress, to protect us, to fight the situation or run away. This can happen whether it's real or imagined, and it's designed to keep us alive in times of danger, but not a good way to live all day, every day. So let's look at something. These are the top 10 most common medical diagnoses as reported by the American Academy of Family Physicians. Number 1, high blood pressure. It's the number 1 most common medical diagnosis. Number 2, allergies and frequent colds. Number 3, breathing problems. Number 4, diabetes. Number 5, back pain, neck pain, and headaches. Number 6, depression and anxiety. Number 7, digestive disorders. 8, impotency. Vision problems is number 9. And number 10 is heart palpitations. Now, about 15 years ago, when I was writing A Clear Path to Healing, I saw this list. So the rating of these may have changed. That's when I saw this. It was right about the same time that I was beginning to study the stress response. And it hit me. I was like, oh my God, those are the same lists. And I came to realize that the cause of all disease, and like I mentioned earlier, the CDC and the World Health Organization are also becoming aware of this, that the cause of all disease is the stress response. Not the stress response itself, being stuck in that stress response day in and day out. So I'm going to show you this. On the left, I have the stress response. On the right is the long-term effect of living the stress response day in and day out without break. So the first thing that happens is the adrenaline is pumped into the blood. This is a primary cause of number 6, depression and anxiety. Then the blood pressure increases. Number 1, high blood pressure. Heart rate increases, heart palpitations, shallow rapid breathing, respiratory disease. Blood sugar increases, diabetes, muscle tension increases, back and neck pain, headaches. Pupils of the eyes dilate, vision problems. Immunity is turned off, allergies and frequent colds. Digestion is turned off, digestive disorders. Sexual function is turned off, impotency. They may not be in the same order, but this is the same list. The stress does not cause illness. I repeat, stress does not cause illness. What causes illness is being stuck in it in the long term. It's the inability to respond appropriately to a stress and/or the inability to effectively recover from that stress that is the cause of all disease. You take any disease from any medical text and trace it back, you will see from the beginning that one of these two things happened. Either you didn't have an appropriate stress response and you didn't respond appropriately, or you responded appropriately but you never recovered from it. What would be an example of the first one? I put my hand on a hot stove and I don't pull it off. That would be not appropriately responding to the stress. Okay. Number 2, I pulled my hand off, but the burn never heals for whatever reason. That would be a major problem. So when we go into the stress response, our body is in a defensive state. And at any time, all animals, all biology, all plants are in one of 2 states. They're either in defense, like that bobcat on the left, or they're in growth, like the bobcat on the right. It's the same with us. We're always in one of these 2 states. We're either growing, evolving, healing, or we're in defense, in stress, in that fight or flight response. You cannot have both at the same time. What I am suggesting is that the only reason old injuries don't heal, the only reason we get sick is our body is in defense for a long time. In the long term, the body naturally should heal. If you have an injury that's been there for a year, 5 years, 10 years, and it's just not healing, there is some stress response that your body is stuck in. Your body is stuck in defense. Next week, in our next talk, we're going to be looking at this in more depth and show how a body heals or doesn't heal. But when a patient comes into my office and they have a long-term of pain or injury that's not healing, I don't see the pain or injury as a problem. What I see the problem is why is the body not healing it? And the answer is the body's in defense. There's a good way that we can quickly see if the body's in defense, and it's through posture. When the body's in that stress response for a long time, the head starts moving forward, the spine starts arching forward, the shoulders start getting hunched, the tail gets tucked. You see this around. Look at it. Look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your friends, your family. When you're walking in the mall, look around. You'll see a lot of people with that forward head posture, their shoulders kind of rounding up, their spine arching forward. That's a body in defense, as opposed to a body in growth that's ready to take on life. The head's up, the spine is upright and arched, the shoulders are back, arms and legs are light, and the tail's wagging. So stress does not have to be a cause of illness. It can be fuel for health and growth. That's why we go to the gym and work out. We use those weights to stress our muscles, and our muscles get stronger. We stress our mind through study, and we get stronger and brighter and more intelligent. And it's those life stresses, if handled appropriately, that give us wisdom. Here's a great quote by Spencer Kimball. We all have challenges, heartaches, and experience success and failures. It is from these that we grow, gain strength, and experience while in mortality. That is so true. So stress is not the cause of illness. Stress is not the cause for health and growth. It's what we do with it that determines one or the other. If we react to the stress and resist it, it'll cause our body to go into defense, fight or flight. We get stuck in that response, and we wind up getting sick, or our injury does not heal. If we respond to that stress appropriately and recover from it effectively and use it deliberately, then it becomes fuel for health and growth. In my office, so here's a great quote from Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, so it's not the survival of the fittest, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. So the most effective thing you could do for health is not take medication, is not run to the doctor every week, is to learn to adapt. And in these 7 responsibilities, as I discuss in my book, A Clear Path to Healing, and what we teach in my office, are the ways to increase your body's ability to adapt and also help your body relieve stress. And I call these the 7 responsibilities. But notice I break the word up. Responsibilities. Your body's ability to respond effectively to stress. Number 1, be present and aware. Stay present in the moment. If you don't know how to do that, there are meditative techniques that can help you quiet the mind and get present. One that I use is called the self-discovery techniques that are very effective. You can check them out at sdlifemastery.com. Also, eating healthy and drinking healthy. In my book, A Clear Path to Healing, I go over these in depth, and I'm going to be having webinars in the future that go over these in depth. Exercising regularly, having adequate rest, taking deep breaths on a regular basis during the day, and having a loving, giving heart, giving back to the community. You know how that feels. It's very fulfilling, and it's very refreshing to give, and it's very healing. And in my life, one of the most important things is having a clear spine. The spine, the nervous system, the spinal cord, the brain is what controls all other body function. In the first place, we tend to carry our tension and our stresses in that spinal cord, and that interferes with the body's ability to heal itself. So chiropractic is designed to help you have a healthier spine so that you can be healthy overall. In my office, I use something called network care, or network spinal analysis, and it's shown consistently through research done at the University of California Medical School, and I've been doing this for 21 years, and I see it every day, that people on the network care do have less physical pain, more energy, fewer colds and flus, less depression and anxiety, more experience of joy, more inner peace, less tension and stress, reduced blood pressure, improved breathing, improved ability to concentrate, and overall improved quality of life, and much more. What does network do? What is it, and how does it get these kind of results? Network spinal analysis is an approach to wellness that applies low-force touch context to the spine to cue the nervous system to recover from past stresses and develop new strategies to adapt to stress, heal, and live to one's full potential. The research done at the University of California Medical School in Irvine showed that NSA, network spinal analysis, significantly improves physical well-being, mental emotional well-being, response to stress, life enjoyment, and overall quality of life. It showed that when individuals began network care, the benefits of other lifestyle changes, such as healthy diet, exercise, psychotherapy, and meditation, doubled and tripled. Meaning, the network care isn't a replacement for these things, it's an enhancement to these things. Because when your nervous system is healthy and free of stress, your body functions better, and it gets more effective results from these kinds of lifestyle changes. Functional MRIs, which is an MRI movie, moving through time. It's not a snapshot, it's a movie. And self-reported self-assessments reveal that network care increases brain efficiency and an individual's ability to adapt to stress and make healthier decisions. And network care has a sympathetic quieting effect that moves a person from stress physiology and defense posture to one of ease, safety, and growth. In our office, we have scans we do on people's spines that actually let us measure the amount of stress that's in the spine and nervous system. We look at the muscles, the nerves, the joints, and even the cardiovascular system. If you look at the upper left, this is a muscle scan, an EMG, surface EMG. There's no needles involved. It's very, very safe and gentle, no pain involved, and it measures the amount of muscle activity. So if you look at the lower left, that's a healthy scan. They're all white, the bars. We have that nice symmetrical pear shape. So up on the upper left, this was a person that started care. The green is mild tension, the blue is moderate, and the red is severe muscle tension. After 3 months of care, you look at the upper right, and you see what their spine looked like. No more red, no more blue, looking much more like the lower left. And ask you ignore the lower right for a moment. We'll come back to that. This is the nerve scan of the same person. This is a thermography. It measures temperature and shows where there's spinal cord and nervous system tension, nerve root tension. So where you see that red was severe spinal cord tension at C3, 4, and 5, and there's some mild tension at T11 and 12. Again, after 3 months of care, this is what on the bottom you see what their spine looked like. That's a perfect scan. No reds, no greens. It's this nice zigzag left to right. That's just what we want to see. If we go back to, remember this C3 and 4 up in the nerve scan, and we go back to the muscle scan, you can see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's where the major tension is. All this tension at C3, 4, and 5 caused all this muscle tension throughout the spine. And again, here's what it looked like on the right. Now, if we look at the bottom right, this is a new technology called heart rate variability. This was developed by NASA to measure from 0 to 100 how healthy a person is and how adaptable they are. It's a very effective tool to get a snapshot in the moment of how healthy you are and give you a score. What this does is it measures your heart rate and looks at the spaces between the beats. So we ignore the heartbeat itself and look at the pauses between the beats. Boom, pause, boom, pause, boom, pause. And what they found was the greater variability in those spaces, meaning the more different each of those spaces are over time. Usually measure it over 5 minutes and compare all the spaces. The more different they all are, the greater variability, the healthier and more adaptable a person is. So what this graph is, that green circle in the middle, that's where a healthy person lives. That's the healthy bullseye. High variability in the heart rate. The yellow is mild disease, mild illness, less variability. The orange is moderate and the red is severe. So on the left is where this person started care with all this muscle tension and nerve tension. And after 3 months of care, bullseye, right in the green. So we can actually measure somebody's adaptable wellness state. So I'd like to thank you all for visiting my website. This is our offer for everybody that listens to our website, to our webinar. And you can come to our office if you've never been there for a complete health consultation, network spinal evaluation with myself for only $45. It's usually $150, and we give a discount for participating in this webinar. So you could call our office at 954-848-HEAL, H-E-A-L, or you can visit our website at placeforhealing.com, where you can watch all of our other webinars that we've done in the past, and also we have a lot of great other videos and information about health, wellness. I have a great blog with tons of articles that you could get to from there. So I want to thank you all for attending this week's Place for Healing Weekly Wellness webinar. And next week,